Get set to take on the Kansas City Chiefs on this Halloween Eve. The Bills hoping to put a ghoulish fright into Joe Montana. The Chiefs hoping to take away Thurman Thomas's candy. We'll find out what happens and tell you all about it on our live post-game show. Plus, we'll have a full recap of this important AFC contest tonight on Sports Extra at 11:30. We'll see you then. So long.
Hit it. This ain't no disco.
Lori Goes Hollywood.
It ain't no country club either.
Behind the scenes.
This is L.A.
I'm Lori Lasowski in Hollywood. Did you ever wonder what it's like on the set of your favorite television shows? Well, I'm going to take you there in my special series coming up next month. Don't miss it.
Magnificent day in Buffalo, New York. 80,000 to see a rematch of last year's AFC Championship game, the Chiefs and the Bills. Both trying to move up, game behind the leaders in their respective divisions. But the big news here in Buffalo, this dynasty in the AFC that has gone 4 straight Super Bowls, is it beginning to crumble? Dick Enberg with Bob Trumpy. Welcome. It's 60 degrees, hardly a breath of air, sunshiny. How can you beat this? Almost November.
Yeah, you're right. I have never seen a day like this in Orchard Park. The wind will not be a factor today, Dick.
How about the concern, Buffalo fans? I mean, the mathematics are simple. They lose today, they're going to struggle to get to the playoffs.
Yeah, 4-4, and you consider that since 1988, the Buffalo Bills have averaged just 1 loss at home. 1 loss at home per year. They've already lost 2. But this team will not go easily. This team is a team of great character. In big games, the Buffalo Bills know how to win and know what it takes to win.
They proved that just a couple of weeks ago against the Miami Dolphins. That was considered a very pivotal game so early in the season. Well, they beat Kansas City. In fact, Marty Schottenheimer referred to it as a debacle in the playoffs, and it was because they came up with a terrific scheme in the running game.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, when these two teams met last year in the regular season, Thurman Thomas had 15 carries for 25 yards. So Kansas City comes to the conference championship game with the same defensive scheme. The nickel versus the counter. The nickel is 5 defensive backs for Kansas City. Look what Buffalo does with it. They run the counter. The strong side blocks down. They've got the angles. The weak side pulls. Watch 75. A 345-pound offensive tackle against 30 Martin Bayless, 190-pound safety, and Thurman Thomas, one of his several long runs of the day. This one for 33 yards. Now this play has to be stopped in order for Kansas City to win.
Hannah Storm joins us down on the field at Rich Stadium.
Well, Dick, both Marcus Allen and Neil Smith told me before the game there was a lot of talk in the Chiefs locker room all week about the fact that the Bills do not respect them. Smith said this came from alleged comments by Jim Kelly and Thurman Thomas saying that they did not consider the Kansas City Chiefs, and they've knocked out of the playoffs 2 of the last 3 years, good enough to represent the AFC in the Super Bowl. I asked Thurman Thomas about the comments. He said he never made them and prefers to do his talking on the field. Whether or not these comments were actually made and where they came from, it doesn't matter, because there's a strong perception on the part of the Chiefs that they are not respected by the Bills. It's a big motivating factor for him today, Dick.
All right, thanks, Anna. Marcus Allen, the oldest running back in the league and still one of the very best. Marty Schottenheimer looking for his 100th regular season victory. He's won them all during the regular year against Buffalo, 6-0, but the big ones in the playoffs, the 2, have eluded him. Marv Levy, the veteran coach of the Bills, and as Marty said, he's still very smooth.
Yeah, and tricky. This is playoff talk we're hearing, what Hannah just said, and also Marty Schottenheimer's comments during the week about the fans in Rich Stadium. I mean, this is late October, early November. This is a playoff conversation happening here before the game starts.
The Bills have won the toss and will receive. Lynn Elliott to kick to Bucky Brooks and Nate Turner, 2 new return men for Buffalo, as Marv Levy wants to spice up what has been a dull return game. Good kick by Elliott to the 1. Bucky Brooks, the rookie. And bumped out of bounds as he crosses the 25-yard line. Here come the Buffalo Bills and the familiar number 12 of Jim Kelly, protected by John Fina. Corbin Lucina Kent Hull, Pro Bowler Davis, and Parker on the right side. With Kelly in the backfield, Thurman Thomas had a playoff record, a Buffalo Bills playoff record, 186 yards against the Chiefs last January. Andre Reed, the all-time receiver, Buffalo history. Billy Brooks, Don Beebe in the 3 wideouts. Vince Morrow comes in the 2 tights. Pete Metzelar is the other tight end, and cornerback Mark Collins, I believe that is, number 25, injured on the kick coverage for the Kansas City Chiefs, and that would be a critical loss.
Yeah, he is the starter. Collins, 25. You can see him right here. See if we can see what happens. Carwell Gardner from behind. Can't really pick up anything on Mark Collins. Gets up, kind of shakes himself a little bit, and then recognizes in taking inventory there's something wrong with his leg. Not really sure exactly what it is, but still being intended to on the sideline. Opening kickoff, you're a head coach in a big game. You don't want to see your starting cornerback lying on the sideline.
Well, let's see the Kansas City defense. Of course, will be a substitute for Collins. Neil Smith has 5.5 sacks this year. Phillips and Saliamour will try to stop the run, the beat inside. Darren Mickle, a good pass rusher on the right side. Derek Thomas, we asked Marty Schottenheimer yesterday, midterms, give your grades. Who gets the A's? He said Derek Thomas, A+. Tracy Simeon and George Jamison complete that linebacking core. Collins probably will be replaced by Jay Taylor at that corner, Dale Carter at the other, David Whitmore, William White, who is questionable all week long. He lost the end of his finger making a tackle a week ago. They didn't think he'd play. He says, I'm ready.
Come on, it's just a finger.
Yeah.
Come on.
There's White, 35, who will start, and Taylor, who apparently will come in for Mark Collins. So the start of this game features an injury immediately.
And, of course, there's a domino effect when a starting cornerback is hurt. Now you got Jay Taylor, and you've also got Mark Collins playing out of position in the nickel package.
Well, apparently more serious than at first thought as they work with Collins. No indication. As soon as we get an official word, you'll know it.
They're working in the area of the leg called the hamstring. The back of the thigh, the bicep of the leg is what the hamstring is. And there's even the point where one of the Buffalo trainers went over to the Kansas City sideline.
So while they attend to Mark Collins of the Kansas City Chiefs, will take this early break. 80,000 all stunned as they watch Mark Collins now being placed on a backboard. Here it is again.
Here's Mark Collins right here. The left leg, it looks like that they're addressing, although we can't really tell, but they're putting him on a backboard, and they also have a small tractor to bring him out, to take him out of the game. Now they've got a stretcher over there.
He starts to get up here as if it's okay, and then suddenly realizes, oh,
something's wrong. Tries to get up on the left leg, can't, and then kind of sinks in pain or discomfort, and you see Marcus Allen standing there above him, or Tracy Rogers, 52, standing there above him, calling for the trainers to come over. Dick, I can't imagine what that injury is.
So we won't speculate, and hopefully it is not a serious injury to Collins. This game starting off with a considerable delay.
And, you know, the difficult part of this, too, is you feel for your teammate, also your opponent, a fellow football player, but you've, for the last 24 hours, built emotionally to the start of this game, and then this is a great drop on both sides of the ball.
Let's go back. You had a chance to touch upon the fact that during last year's meeting between these two teams down in Kansas City, the Chiefs dominated, won handily. Then they came up here after having literally shut down Thurman Thomas. Mark Collins being removed from the field.
Certainly treating his left leg very gingerly, Dick.
There's a padding under his knee. And all precautions being taken, and as serious as some of these things appear initially because of those precautions, sometimes the good news is that it isn't a fracture or it isn't something that'll cost him the season, but that maybe a minor injury, but no chances taken, and that's one of the positive things about football of the 90s versus those of when you play.
You're right. The players are a lot tougher, too, Dick.
So here we go. Kelly starts at his own 27-yard line. Thurman Thomas behind him. Kelly comes out throwing. And it's Andre Reed. Who else who has a first down on the very first throw of the game? Darren Anderson makes the tackle.
Well, when we last saw the Buffalo Bills play Kansas City, they just ran the ball right at the defensive line. Now Anderson comes in there replacing Mark Collins. And you got Jay Taylor moving in. Remember last year in the conference championship game, Buffalo did a good job of picking on Bruce Pickens.
Reverse to Reed. And Reed is across the 45. Has about 8 more yards before Anderson can make the tackle.
Darren Anderson, the replacement cornerback in his second year out of Toledo. He's about 4th or 5th on the depth chart for defensive backs for the Kansas City Chiefs, as Reed trying to get him involved, I think, a little more in the offense, trying to get the ball down the field any way they can.
Third time he's rushed the ball this year. The first 2 times netting 24 yards. A pickup of 9 on that carry. Gardner in there in the power set, and it's Thomas with running room. 45 and out of bounds at Kansas City 36.
Well, along with Thurman's 186 last year, the Bills rushed for 229 yards against this defensive line. You see Neil Smith 90 take the outside rush, and 42, the Mincy can't get up there to make the tackle. This is a bad start for Kansas City. This is exactly what Buffalo wants to do.
Thomas's first carry nets him 16. They send him out as a wing right with Reed and Beebe to the left. Caught by Metzelars, the tight end, 7 more yards. And Metzelars now 3 catches from being one of those rare tight ends to go over the 300 reception mark.
Yeah, there aren't many of us. You would think for our size, tight ends are easy to find. Good job of looking around the field there by Jim Kelly, finding the linebacker coverage on the tight end to make the catch.
Second down, 3. Thomas caught in the backfield this time. A loss of a yard as Neil Smith invades.
A loss of 1. It'll be 3rd and 4, 2nd and 30.
Interesting that Neil Smith makes the tackle because he's up in a 2-point stance, but he makes a move hard inside, and the offensive right tackle Parker can't really block him. Carwell Gardner tries to get a shoulder pad on him. The Kansas City Chiefs are going to be a little more active against this running offense of the Buffalo Bills. Slants and stunts to stop the run.
Smith, who has been nicked most of this year, said, I'm about due to play my all-pro level. He's not been happy with his work. Oops. So they pull Smith offside. And that's a first down for Buffalo if it's against the Chiefs. Gordon McCarter is our referee today.
Encroachment, number 90 defense. 5-yard penalty, enough for a first down.
You could hear the hard count of Jim Kelly, and it doesn't just get Neil Smith. He makes contact on Pete Metzelars, but he got the entire Kansas City Chiefs defense.
First down at the 25-yard line. An impressive start for Kelly and the Bills offense. Beebe right, Reed left. Thomas in the flat. And he's out of bounds at the 19-yard line. 6-yard pickup. Derek Thomas. We have Thomas against Thomas. Derek against Thurman. We got Phil Smith, Neil, and Bruce, 2 of the best at rushing the passer in this contest today.
Yeah, those names will come up often today.
And a Storm has an update on Mark Collins' injury.
Well, as we suspected, Dick, it is an injury to his left lower leg. They're not sure how extensive it is. They're not sure if the leg is broken. So he's been taken into the tunnel for x-rays, and we'll have more word on that later on, Dick.
Okay, thanks, Hannah. On second down and short, Thomas gets a short gain, and he is drilled after a 1-yard pickup by Derek Thomas.
One of the mistakes that Marty Schottenheimer made last year was Derek Thomas was not on the field enough. Matter of fact, Derek told us that, you know, they lost the conference championship game. That means the Kansas City coaching staff goes to the Pro Bowl. There was no mention of the conference championship game with Marty. 4 months later, they sat down and talked about it, and Marty admitted, I was wrong. You should have been in there the entire day. To the counter. Not only do they have the offside guard and tackle pulling, but you're going to see the fullback come in here too. Here are the two pullers. They block down, and then Thomas bounces it out. But watch Carwell Gardner, 35, the third part. He also gets a block. Davis, a good block. And that Thurman Thomas, boy, great body control. Turns sideways, picks up the first down.
More than a 5-minute drive. That's uncharacteristic of Buffalo. Thomas ducking under Dan Saliamua. Saliamua is 300-plus pounds right there. And how did Thomas get that low?
Well, ghosts and goblins appear on Halloween, and Thurman disappeared. Saliamua's role this year in the defense is a little bit different. He plays off the ball. His teammates call him a nose backer. Not really up on the line of scrimmage, but a tough tackler, and Thurman made him look foolish there.
10th play of the drive. Closer to 2nd and 8. Into the end zone. Touchdown, Metzelaars, the tight end. The 6'7" Metzelaars, his second touchdown of the year.
Not much of a pattern run by Metzelaars. He's just looking for the seam in the coverage and gets inside William White for the catch. And did you see William White hold his hand up there to avoid contact? Not healthy. Putting his team in jeopardy if he can't stick that hand in there, Dick.
Steve Christie's try for point. It's Canada Day at Rich Stadium, and the one Canadian in the game, Christie, adds the extra point. Jim Kelly gets his team in front on the opening drive.
That wasn't so bad.
Well, I wouldn't congratulate you.
And the kickoff from the Buffalo Bills out of bounds. And that means that Kansas City's Joe Montana.
Kickoff out of bounds. Receiving team will take the ball on the 40-yard line. 1st and 10.
That's a big break. 30 yards from the spot of the kickoff, and with the kickoff move back to the 30, you get it at the 40.
Dick, here's the touchdown. These two guys are reading the tight end and the running back. And when the tight end releases outside, the safety has coverage. You can see the pattern run by Metzelaars. William White, 35, didn't get there in coverage.
Joe Montana, his first play, and it's Marcus Allen. 34-year-old star from Southern California picks up 3. Mark Maddox and Bruce Smith make the tackle. Here's the offense for the Chiefs, all playing with a bad back. Doc, Grunhard, Shields, and Graham, the front wall. Montana's been sacked only 6 times this year. Kimball Anders and Marcus Allen, the runners. Lake Dawson, the rookie from Notre Dame, and Willie Davis, the wideout. Derek Walker, the former Charger, at tight end. When they go to the Twins, Tracy Green is the second tight end. On 2nd and 7 to Allen. And he's down at the 42 in Buffalo territory with a first down. Marcus Allen, only one other man. NFL history has caught more passes out of the backfield. That's Roger Craig. 16-yard play. Defense for Buffalo, Hanson Wright and the All-Pro Bruce Smith and their 3-4 linemen. The linebackers Cornelius Bennett, Marcus Patton, Maddox and Talley. Washington and Smith are the corners, and Jones and Darby at safety. In the dime, Berth, the rookie from Notre Dame, and Kurt Schultz come in. Give to Allen. Bruce Smith. It's a piece of him as Allen ducks in at the 39-yard line. Marcus Allen. Even the Bills were commenting yesterday, and Bruce Smith, one of them, who made the tackle. You never get a clean shot at him. His shoulders are never square to you. He's always twisting and turning those eel-like moves.
Yeah. And when you talk to Marcus, he said, you know, I'm not a big guy. I'm one of those lean guys. I may run like a fullback, but I'm a true running back, around 210.
Second down, 6. Again, the Sanders this time, and the fullback inside the 35-yard line. A couple yards shy of a first down. Smith and Talley make the tackle.
Now, there's one thing about this Kansas City offense. When you try to defense Kansas City, you got to go with a complete package, because they'll give it to anybody, and the offense throws it to anybody that can get open. Paul Hackett is the guy who brought it to Kansas City from San Francisco, and they just make you defend all over the field, Dick.
Come in with 2 tight ends, Green and Walker. Dawson to the right, and newly acquired Eric Martin to the left. There's Dawson, and he has a first down at the 21. 13-yard gain for the rookie, who came in with 10 catches and a touchdown.
Dick, excuse me, he's replacing J.J. Burton out with the back injury. Dawson, a big kid, last week had 5 catches for 93 yards. And he's gained the confidence of Joe Montana quickly, that he had to learn the details coming out of Notre Dame. Not a very sophisticated passing game.
Yeah, that's an Irish connection. Grunhard, the center, is a Notre Damer to Montana. Montana to Dawson. All from Notre Dame. Take to Allen. And the throw is complete to the far sidelines to Lake Dawson. Inside the 10-yard line. It's first and goal, Kansas City.
Perfect timing. I mean, this ball is out of Joe Montana's hand, and when he throws it here, Dawson is yet to make the break. That ball is thrown perfectly, gets his second foot down, 11-yard completion. Again, now watch Joe Montana, ball out of his hand. Dawson has yet to turn around. It's unstoppable. Absolutely unstoppable.
And that's a pass that on a normal Buffalo day where the gusty winds would have been very difficult to throw.
Yeah, this is like indoors in Buffalo.
Trailing 7-0, and Montana uses a timeout.
Did you see Marcus Allen? I think Marcus Allen brought to Joe's mind that you better call a timeout. This isn't right. 2 veterans.
As your engine revs higher.
Marcus Allen goes by Joe Montana. The communication between the two, wrong formation or something. Kansas City doesn't waste the play.
They resume. First and goal from the 9. Montana looking for Marcus Allen, who goes down in the end zone. Accidental contact. Cornelius Bennett covering Marcus Allen. Well, on this first quarter, Kelly goes on the opening drive 4 for 4, takes the Bills down and scores. Montana, that was the first pass that hit the ground. He was 3 for 3. These 2 veteran quarterbacks matched up in a game that well could be featuring an important playoff contest next January. Allen up the middle. Allen touchdown.
Whoa. Man, did he shoot through there like a 24-year-old, not a 34-year-old.
His 118th career touchdown. Marcus Allen, 9 yards. What a call on second and goal from the 9.
Nice lead block by Kimball Anders. The man right in front of him. And when they drafted him, you know, a lot of people said he wouldn't be durable enough. He couldn't catch the ball. He wasn't tough enough. He's all 3.
Lynn Elliott skids one through, and the game is tied at 7. Marcus Allen.
He gets the credit, but watch up front. Watch the block. Kimball Anders on the linebacker right here. Marcus follows him right through the hole between the guard and the center. Boom. Kimball Anders on Patton. And Marcus Allen takes care of the rest. Coming right at you. Excellent job by the offensive line. Will Shields, a good block. But there's the lead block. And Kansas City in the end zone.
Allen, he told us yesterday he's still driven by the reports when he was a senior at Southern California that he wasn't fast enough, wasn't strong enough, couldn't endure, that he was a risk as a first-round draft pick even though he had just won the Heisman Award. Still proving his point. It's tied at 7. Beautiful kick. Bucky Brooks, the rookie from North Carolina. Skids and downed at the 20-yard line. Speaking of memories and what drives you, in January, Anders had a moment he just won't forget. Montana throws to Anders, right through his hands, would have been a touchdown, intercepted by Henry Jones. So that block that he just threw in front of Marcus Allen to spring him for a touchdown, a way of atonement for him.
Just slight, though. That drop was a 14-point swing. 7 that Kansas City did not get in the championship game. 7 Buffalo did.
Thurman Thomas, complimenting the 4-for-4 by Kelly, had 23 yards rushing on the opening series. He has the screen. It's good for about 5. Run out of bounds by David Whitmore, the big safety from Stephen F. Austin.
Dick, it's very obvious here that Buffalo wants to get Thurman Thomas involved any way they possibly can. Kelly looking left, even angles left on the drop, draws the defense in, throws the ball between Neil Smith's hands. And Thurman Thomas, who came out of Oklahoma State with no receiving skills whatsoever, certainly has taught himself to be an excellent receiver.
He's got 2 today, 22 on the year. Looked like he had trouble handling the ball there. Was reaching for a better grip and gains maybe a yard. Darren Mickle to make the tackle along with Neil Smith, the 2 ends pinching down. And Thomas appeared to not have a clean hold.
Dick, I don't think that these 2 teams can just go up and down the field on each other's defense. That opening drive by each team, very impressive, but this game has got to slow down. This is a 15-round fight.
As Thomas rushes, so go the Bills. Deflected at the line of scrimmage, incomplete. It was intended for Pete Metzelaars.
That's Kelly's first incompletion, and it was either Darren Mickle or it was Neil Smith that got their hands up. Short set. Yeah, it is Darren Mickle who knocks the ball down. Short set. Kelly's first incompletion.
There's Mickle, who was a supplementary pick in '92. Played at the University of Florida. Chris Moore, who kicks them as high as anyone in the league. To Danon Hughes back at the 35-yard line. This one's a dying spiral. Hughes staying away from it. And who else but Steve Tasker surrounds it. Broken thumb and all. 37-yard punt, no return, and here comes Joe Montana. Well, he's in the eyes of many a defender from another world. And that reminds me, next Sunday, NBC presents the most anticipated event of the television season, the 2-hour series premiere of Earth 2. The year is 2192. The Earth is dying. A man must voyage across the universe to colonize a new Earth. Earth 2 next Sunday at 7, 6 Central, here on NBC. He should have a cameo, I would think. Tied at 7. Montana is a little short on that one, DeMarcus.
Boy, Joe knows it, too. Gets so mad at himself when he makes a mistake. But his greatest attribute, forget that play. Go on to the next one.
The one common denominator of Montana and Allen, other than the fact there's, Montana at 38 and Allen at 38 still performing, is that their personalities are so low key.
Yes.
You expect before a big game fire and, really upbeat intensity, and they just seem so relaxed. And yet underneath there is that fire. Here's Anders. And he moves the pile to the 40-yard line, a gain of 4.
Both Marcus Allen and Joe Montana, 2 of the most unpretentious people you'll ever meet in your life. Neither one of them wear jewelry from their Super Bowl victories. Marcus has his Heisman Trophy and sitting on the floor of his room, a room in his house. He really doesn't wear a lot of jewelry. He's a down to earth, almost a country kid. We know he's not, but 2 very likable individuals.
Crowd comes to life on 3rd down and 4. Incomplete to Lake Dawson. Broken up by Mickey Washington.
And he was Lake Dawson. Very interesting formation for Kansas City, Dick. Empty backfield, 2 tight ends, 3 wide receivers. Now watch Washington, a physical player, and he is all over Lake Dawson. That's the veteran taking advantage of the rookie. You know, you got to separate from contact like that when you're a receiver.
Well, both teams marched the length of the field on their first possession for a touchdown. Both are 3 and out on the second possession. Louis Aguiar drives it toward a rookie Jeff Burris. Talented return rookie from Notre Dame is across the 30 to the 32. Joe Valerio, touchdown. Joe Valerio makes the tackle. Well, this is the first half of our NBC doubleheader, and coming up next, many of you will see the rematch of what is the highest scoring game of this NFL season when Miami beat New England 39-34. Marino and Miami, and Bledsoe and the Patriots getting ready to go. Some of you will see Junior Seau and the 6-1 Chargers trying to regain their winning touch against Rick Meyer and the Seahawks. The Raiders play host to Houston. Surprising Browns 6-1 in Denver. Jets collide with the Colts. Those are our second half games. On first down, the toss to Thomas. Trying to duck under a good charge by Kansas City. Cut off the corner, and they make the tackle for a loss of about 3. And Darren Mickles made a couple of big plays already.
Yeah, excellent job. Watch 92. He strings this out. He doesn't give Carvel Gardner 35 anywhere to go, nor Thurman Thomas anywhere to go. And he turns it back in. Dale Carter 34 also there. Tracy Simeon. That's the kind of defense you need against this Buffalo rush game.
Loss of 2.
Two guys.
Now officially 3-yard deficit. Kelly in the flat to Carlo Gardner, and the big fullback out to the 39-yard line, where it'll be 3rd and 4. George Jameson, the ex-Detroit Lion, and Jay Taylor playing for the injured Mark Collins make the tackle.
Hey, Carvel Gardner. Every once in a while you get the feeling that Kelly says, oh, wait a minute, we got a fullback. They'll give it to him once a month. They'll throw it to him once every 6 weeks, and that's about it.
Well, it was his 5th catch of the year.
That's amazing.
5 years, 15, averaging 3 a season, so he's well over his average now with 5.
Big year.
Offside. Free play for Kelly, and knocked down by the man who was offside, Vaughn Booker. Free agent rookie from Cincinnati. Neil Smith.
Got a bad ankle, got a bad thumb.
Offside, nose guard defense. 5-yard penalty. Enough for a first down.
You know, Dick, now this is the second time we've seen this happen. And it's the hard count by Jim Kelly, close to bobbing his head. But that tells me that Buffalo believes it's going to be tough to gain yards today. We'll take them any way we can get them. If we can get 5 on a penalty for a hard count, yeah, we'll take them against Kansas City.
And both of those 5-yard penalties have been 3rd down and given a Buffalo first down.
Counter.
Thurman. Beautiful running. 40, 30, 27 for Thurman Thomas.
What a move. That little hesitation, Dick. This is the play Kansas City's got to stop. You're going to see again the pull on the offside, the down blocking here. But at the end of this run, watch the hesitation by Thurman Thomas that gives him the outside. The hesitation there. Carter 34 jumps inside. Thomas outside for a big gain.
29 yards on the play. First down at the Kansas City 27. The quickie to Beebe, and almost deflected by Carter into the arms of his teammate Derek Thomas. Carter lightning quick and closing in on Beebe.
Now this is very, very close. You're right, Dick. And Carter does a great job because Kelly doesn't give it away. Now Carter's looking right at Don Beebe. It's just a 5 or 6 yard hitch. Carter's an emerging coverage back here for the Kansas City Chiefs. Neil Smith still on the sideline with some problem.
Kenneth Davis in for Thurman Thomas, and he's able to burrow for nearly 5 yards. Tracy Simeon makes the tackle. Final seconds of this opening quarter. Fast paced at 7-all, and the Bills driving to take the lead. Kelly not acting as though he's in any hurry to get off a play before the end of the quarter. And apparently yeah, there they come with 10 seconds.
They don't have to run a play. They've got 12 seconds on the play clock. And they won't.
Kelly to Reed. Touchdown! For the 52nd time, James Edward Kelly to Andre Reed for a touchdown.
That's just Reed's second touchdown reception of this season. And it was a beaut.
Christie's try for point. It's good. What a way to end the quarter for these Buffalo fans. 67 yards, 6 plays. Kelly with a perfect throw to Andre Reed, and Buffalo leads it 14-7.
When I got
top statistics man in receiving in Buffalo history, complimenting Thurman Thomas and Jim Kelly as the offense on the final second of the opening quarter, clicking on the 23-yard touchdown throw. And now we open the second period. Ron Dickerson. Christie sends it to the speedy Dickerson. Good coverage. He barely makes it back to the 20-yard line. Kurt Schultz in on the stop.
Dick, if we go back to the touchdown, Andre Reed, single coverage. Now watch the mistake Jay Taylor looks back into the backfield. By then, Reed's by him. And to remind you what effect the injury to Mark Collins might have on Kansas City, that is Mark Collins' spot. And the defensive coordinator of Kansas City Chiefs, Dave Adolph, there in the hat, trying to orchestrate what we do now.
Greg Hill, the rookie from Texas A&M, in for Marcus Allen. Hill to the 25, smothered as Darryl Talley leads the defensive charge. Allen, who's very impressed by Hill, who is 5'11", 205, was the 25th player picked in the draft last spring. Rushed for 1,000 yards as a freshman, 1,000 yards as a sophomore. He got to 2,000 faster than anyone in Southwest Conference history.
Yeah, and how would you like to start your pro career learning the position from Marcus Allen and catching the ball from Joe Montana? That's such a charmed life.
Hill again. Not much of a hole. Mark Maddox there to plug it. And Greg Hill earning a tough couple of yards. Be about 3rd and 5 for Joe Montana.
And you know, Kansas City's choice here is going with a lot of 2 tight ends. That they had both Walker and Green, the young tight end there, 2 tight ends, 2 wide receivers, and a running back.
Marv Levy goes with a dime defense. 2 extra defensive backs in and 2 linebackers out. Martin, the former New Orleans Saint, gets the first down at the 39-yard line. Jeff Burris makes the tackle. Martin, along with Jerry Rice, the only receivers in the NFL the last 6 years to catch at least 60 passes. He's now a Chief, and Montana loves the kind of patterns he runs.
Yeah, big guy. He told us last night, I'd rather be in a crowd. I like catching the ball when there's company around from the other team. Put me in the middle of the field. I'll catch it.
His 3rd catch in 2 weeks as a Chief. Draw play. And Hill able to fight for a few. No, it's Kimball Anders this time who takes the ball from Montana.
Whenever you do a Joe Montana game, I guess you go on and on about Joe Montana, and for good reason, but he shows constantly just amazing skills, you know, the timing of the pattern and putting it in the right spot and going to the right guy against the coverage is just wonderful to watch.
Marcus Allen back in, and Allen only gets a yard or two out to about the 37-yard line, where it'll be 3rd and long for the Chiefs. Eric Martin out. Tracy Green in. Eric Martin, number 85, in the red of the Chiefs. More than a number. Despite being the all-time New Orleans Saints receiver, look at those men that threw passes to him. Richard Todd, both Wilsons, Steve Bono now, and Montana the Chiefs. Marcus Allen dropped by Darryl Talley. Talley, the sensational linebacker, and he matches his 34 years against Marcus Allen's, and makes the stop, but a flag is down in the backfield, and Bruce Smith says, somebody holding me. Still no signal from referee McCarter. Now we get it.
Holding, 76 offense, penalty declined, 4th down.
John Alder has his hands full today.
Yeah, he has got Bruce Smith, and when in doubt, you make sure that the big guy does not hit Super Joe. Makes contact, but gets caught for the hold.
They decline the penalty on 4th and 5, and Aguiar's punt. Burris lets it drop. Almost hit a Bills player on the helmet. Down at the 32-yard line. So leading 14-7. Kelly and the Bills will go to work when we come back. And then a big doubleheader. Stay tuned for our second games on NBC. That's what these men will be doing. Cornelius Bennett and Bruce Smith, Darryl Talley, Jeff Wright. That Buffalo defense is still of Super Bowl quality. Just ask them. Andre Reed caught at the 40-yard line, a gain of 8. Hannah Storm has an update on the injury situation.
Well, here's the latest on the banged-up secondary. Cornerback Mark Collins has suffered a deep thigh bruise in his lower left leg, so it's not as serious as it looked. He, however, is a questionable return. And Dale Carter, who is in the game right now, is having problems with his right big toe. He just had to have some extra padding put on that. Also, Neil Smith, why was he out during the last scoring drive? He had a jammed neck. Dick?
Okay, Hannah, not a good start in the injury departmент for the Kansas Cities. 2nd and 2. Thomas, first down at the 45-yard line. David Whitmore tripped him up.
Another great attribute of Thurman Thomas, that great vision at the point of attack. There was nothing, so Thurman, with those quick feet of his, he just keeps bouncing right, sliding right until he can find an opening in the defense, picks up a few yards.
And you can count on a couple of fingers the times that Thurman Thomas has rushed for 100 yards and Buffalo has not won.
Yes, it's a huge key to the psyche of this football team and its success.
He's averaging over 6 a carry, 55 yards, first half. Kelly. Play action to Reed. Broken up by Dale Carter, and Carter showed his speed to close. It appeared Reed had him whipped.
And that's not the matchup that Buffalo wants. That is who Kansas City would like to have on Andre Reed. Dale Carter. You want closing speed by a cornerback. Look, he senses where Reed is, looks back for the ball. There's contact there, but the side judge right on the play says no flag, incomplete pass.
Jim Kelly now 8 for 11 in this half. 10 minutes remaining.
Block.
To midfield. Thomas on Thomas. Derrick gets Thurman after a pickup of 5.
Again, watch his ability to get up behind the offensive line of scrimmage, make the defense think he's going inside. Then he steps outside. Greg Thomas shows pretty good speed here to get out and help Anderson. 44 kind of holds things up for Derrick Thomas to get there. He's off to a great first half, Dick.
60 yards now for Thurman. 3rd and 5. runs out of room and needs it. 3-yard loss. Dale Carter coming up to force on the corner with Whitmore. 41.
Boy, did he force. Woo! Dale Carter recognized that immediately. And Mickle a little slow getting up, but a guy who can cover downfield, and then you're going to see a body flying in here from the left. It's going to be Dale Carter, number 34. There he is, diving down at Carwell Gardner, 35 feet. This gives Thurman Thomas no place to run.
Oh, Chris Moore to punt it. Dana Hughes at the other end for Kansas City. Beautiful kick. Maybe too good. All the way through the end zone. Joe Montana, the Chiefs offense, will take over the 20, trailing 14-7.
So, does it ever get any easier?
I don't think it's supposed to.
I'm going as yesterday.
You're going to go as yesterday?
I'm going to go as yesterday. What I'm wearing today.
That's something that's more like it.
Yes. That looks too much like me, though. Look out of character.
Joe Montana trails 14-7. Greg Hill darts through a hole and gains nearly 9 on first down before Jeff Wright. Henry Jones can make the stop.
You mentioned some numbers on Greg Hill. He's a college senior. Came out a year early. This is a young man who is being force-fed a lot of things.
Let's see, eight regular season. They had 5 pre. That's 13 games. That would be a college season, and he's just at the halfway mark of an NFL year. It's the mental pressure, he says, that really is tough. Well, there's 106 pass plays in the game today for Kansas City. Marcus Allen on second and short. We'll see where they mark it. It appears to be across the 30, and that would be a first down. It is.
Marcus, one carry, goes out, brings in Greg Hill. They're saving Marcus Allen, I believe, for the later stages of the season. Part of that reason is Greg Hill, with all the problems, he's caught on very quickly.
And no play before the snap. Appear to be John Holt playing with a sore back. He's come out of the last 2
False
games.
start before the snap. 76 offense. 5 yards. Still first down.
Here's Alden. This time it's Darryl Talley who is right on. Bruce Smith is inside on the guard, but still, Alt knows that in order to stop any good pass rush, you need that quick set away from the line of scrimmage.
Joe Valerio is in as a eligible receiver at playing in essence a tight end.
They can't throw it to him here, though. Ruin his record.
That's right. It's their tank formation. And Hill ripped in the backfield by Bruce Smith. Let's see if he's going to get. No, I thought he might give that Neil Smith baseball swing that he did in the playoffs. Smith and Smith are friends, and he said, hey, I wasn't trying to put him down. I just having a little fun.
Yeah, you want to see why he's the complete player? Watch him inside. Look at that. He comes from offside to make first contact. There are so few players defensively in the history of the game who have had that ability. Bruce Smith has always had that ability.
His 5th tackle of this opening half. Good protection for Montana. Underneath he goes to Lake Dawson. Tackled immediately at the 30. A gain of only 5. 3rd and 10. But that's part of Montana's bio. He doesn't try to get it all in one throw.
Right.
But he'll just take what he has and take 5 here. I'll try to get 10 the next time.
It's the underneath stuff that Joe Montana has always been so good at. Get off of that primary receiver, go to the check down receivers. But, Dick, that's also why of late he's had an awful lot of passes tipped at the line of scrimmage by defensive players.
Comes Bruce Smith. Incomplete.
Oh, Montana knew. He could see him out of the corner of his eye, too. Bruce Smith, normally a right defensive end, this time on the left. defensive end spot. He's going around Graham, and you can tell that Joe Montana sees Bruce Smith. Oh, no, 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 no. Got it away. Again, just so quick. That's a mismatch.
Aguiar sends a spiral to Jeff Burris at the 28. And tackled by Greg Minuski at the 31-yard line. 41-yard punt. And we have a break. His own trick-or-treat party terrorizing quarterback Joe Montana in this first half. 14-7. Buffalo leads it with 5:42 left before the intermission. And the Bills take over at their 31-yard line. Metzelaars with a touchdown catch on the left. Andre Reed with the other touchdown from Kelly is slotted left. Beebe far left. And Thurman Thomas reverses. Gets a block from Kelly and loses a couple as David Whitmore comes up to make the stop. Jim Kelly now will take the Bills into the huddle, something that we haven't seen the last few years, and that brings us to what is behind those numbers.
Well, talking to Marv Levy, he finally admitted, although we've said for years that you're putting a lot of pressure on your defense, and he said, yeah, well, it has been a burden on our defense, and that's why we're being a little more deliberate offense.
Kelly, one of those over 30. And he's hit by Dale Carter. Beebe shy of the first down. 13 players over 30. And while it's not the oldest team on average age, no one has more veteran players in the National Football League. And he said that what it was hurting most was that defense. Yeah. You get 2-minute blow, and then you're back on the field again.
Too many snaps, and then you also consider all the games that Buffalo has played in the last 4 seasons and being the champion. I mean, this entire team has gotten old in a hurry.
On 3rd and 3, Reed. Knocked out of bounds at the 5-yard line by William White. '57-yard play.
Perfect timing. Here's Reed. He runs double motion, and Jay Taylor, 27, kind of gets lost here. He's expecting Andre Reed to go all the way through the formation. And then watch this perfect timing by Jim Kelly to get the ball to Andre Reed in a foot race. And frankly, I'm surprised Andre Reed doesn't win that foot race.
Now Kelly off play action. Beebe, the intended receiver, well covered in the end zone by Jay Taylor.
Well, you know, people around Buffalo said, you know, the Bills don't have any long plays anymore. Well, that was a 2-yard completion that almost went for the distance.
Longest pass play of the year for Buffalo, and it was a catch and run with Andre Reed getting most of the 57 yards with his legs. Pretty nice numbers for the all-pro receiver.
25 yards a catch. Yeah, that works.
In the K-gun now. Thomas with Kelly. Thomas dancing, darting, and finally smothered at the 2. George Jameson and Neil Smith.
And that time Kansas City did come with the nickel with the 5th defensive back. This is the area of the field that Marv Levy is in charge of. He calls the short yardage and goal line plays for Buffalo. Dave Adolph, the defensive coordinator for Kansas City, and tries to play the chess game against him.
And another Kansas City injury. David Whitmore. They've already lost Mark Collins on the opening kickoff. And now Whitmore, their starting safety, down after making that last tackle. Whitmore, a big hitter from the 49ers with Montana in the trade last year. Let's go back to the long gainer, Andre Reed.
Was this 57 yards on the completion? The motion here sets up the entire play because 27 Whitmore gets caught. And even though William White has the angle and he's going to eventually push him out of bounds, Reed, one of those receivers in the NFL with exceptional speed, I thought he would outrun William White, but a big play for the Buffalo Bills.
Reed, one of those in that 30 and over club, just turned 30 this year. But that is the core. When you think of those 30-year-olds, we're talking the men that have really driven this machine to 4 straight AFC championships. Whitmore able to leave under his own power.
You talk about that core of players. I'm not sure that even Buffalo knew what they had when they got them all. Kelly and Reed and Kent Hull on offense, along with Thurman Thomas, and on defense, Bruce Smith, Darryl Talley. You can put Jeff Wright, Cornelius Bennett. I mean, that is a bunch that has just stayed together, played together, and when there's ever some locomotion needed, it comes from Darryl Talley, but the other guys listen.
Trying to build on that 14-7 lead. A big play. Thomas got a block. Touchdown.
He's taking this game over again. Mr. Thomas.
He needed only 57 yards today to go by Gerald Riggs and Roger Craig on the all-time rushing list. He's now 13th all-time with a 60-yard half, and now the first rushing touchdown. Christie, who has just been inside those uprights on his extra points, makes it 21-7. They said that his fire was burning hot this week. Thurman Thomas.
When it gets hot, again the counter, only the lead this time by Carvel Gardner. Thurman Thomas jumps outside. He's taken over the game.
A 21-7 lead. It's the first ever NFL Canada Day here in Buffalo, only 20 minutes from the Canadian border. And I know we have, just from the mail, a lot of fans who love this game north of Buffalo.
Yeah, I'm a fisherman, and I take my sons to Canada every year, at least once, hopefully twice. I love Canada.
Ron Dickerson takes the kickoff to the 25-yard line. Mike Dumas makes the tackle. So Joe Montana has 3 minutes and 7 seconds to try to get back. That last score down by 14.
Dick, if Montana doesn't get something on the board here, then he's allowing this Buffalo offense to take over the game. I mean, I think Joe recognizes that.
Another measuring stick for Buffalo this year. Well, they're 4-3. When they're ahead at halftime, they've won all 4. When they're tied or behind at halftime, they've lost all 3.
You think Marv Levy doesn't know those numbers? Have you ever come across a guy more interested in numbers concerning his team?
Derek Walker, the tight end, in motion. Montana trying to hit Willie Davis, who has not caught a pass in the half. He leads the Chiefs on the season with 36. Good coverage again from Mickey Washington.
I think if Montana and Kansas City are going to get some yards here throwing, it's going to have to come on the inside of this Buffalo defense. Buffalo likes to use the double rotation zone, corners up, safeties out. And Paul Hackett's got to figure a way to get into the middle of this defense, not on its fringe.
Marcus Allen out of the backfield. Oh, what balance, and finally dropped at the 30-yard line. Picks up only 4. Talley and Smith with the tackle. With those 4 yards, Kansas City now has 100 yards against Walt Corey's defense. Just 100. Buffalo has racked up 221 yards this first half. Fans now want to stop, get the ball back with 2 minutes to go, and they lead 21-7. Complete to Davis, and a first down at the 44. Montana buying time. Could have tried to run for it, waited for Davis to come open.
He also, this is part of this West Coast offense too. You watch the receiver make himself a receiver. Here's the receiver. He's gonna, when Joe scrambles to the left, Willie Davis makes sure he becomes a receiver. Now watch what he does. Now the quarterback, you run with the quarterback. Give Joe Montana somebody to throw it to. It makes a completion.
And we'll be back at Rich Stadium in Buffalo after this messages from the NFL. Bob Trumpy, Hannah Storm. Buffalo leads 21-7 at the 2-minute timeout. Reminder, the NBA season has arrived, and with it comes the ultimate ticket next Saturday, 5:30 Eastern. Don't miss the NBA special opening weekend, an exclusive look at the upcoming NBA season. This action-packed half hour previews the year's most compelling stories, provides an all-access look at today's hottest NBA players. That's next Saturday, 5:30 Eastern. David Whitmore on the right. Report on him is a shoulder bruise. He's expected to return. First down for Montana at the 43. Chiefs have 2 timeouts left. Oh, that wraparound to Marcus. He fumbles and Buffalo recovers. Darryl Talley.
Dick, some people call it the wraparound draw. Some people call it the slow draw. But it didn't look like Joe Montana ever got it fully into Marcus Allen. Want to reach around. Oh, it goes right through his arms. Just squirts out. And Darryl Talley with the recovery.
At the 36-yard line. The Chiefs are +9 turnover ratio. That's tied with Dallas best in the league. Buffalo's a -3. Marty's teams live and die with that turnover table. And that's the first of this game. Buffalo already with a 2-touchdown lead. Tim Stone around the right corner. And he's to the 28-yard line. And the Bills have all 3 of their timeouts left. Smith and Taylor make the stop.
Plus, they've now established the part of their running game that I think Kansas City fears the most. They're able to run the counter. And Kansas City thought about it all off season. They came up with a different defensive philosophy to stop it, and they have not come close.
Kelly sends Thomas slot left. And Kelly sacked for the first time today. Darren Mickle has his 3rd sack of the season. Neil Smith was right behind Mickle.
Actually, that's pretty smart of Jim Kelly. Stepped up, hung onto the ball, didn't want to take a chance of throwing him, just throwing it up there for somebody to get. It does a pretty good job. There's Marcus Allen. He's the fumble. Here's Mickle. And you'll see Kelly come back up into the pocket. Mickle is blocked by John Fina, number 70, and blocked well. But then nobody downfield to throw the ball to.
And the line of scrimmage to 31, where it'll be 3rd down and about 5. A reminder coming up, the Domino's Pizza NFL Live halftime report with Greg Gumbel and Mike Ditka. I'll bring you up to date with all the scores and highlights, including that stunner. Cincinnati was leading Dallas 14-0. The Cowboys have just scored Aikman to Harper to make it 14-7. They'll bring you as well a preview of the second games of our big doubleheader today and look back at the Week 1 shootout between Miami and New England, Marino and Bledsoe.
There'll be an investigation by somebody if Cincinnati beats Dallas.
3rd down and 5. Kelly. A hit from behind, and oh, how fortunate Buffalo there. That pass was in the direction of both Derek Thomas, or check that, George Jamison and Doug Carey, and flopped right between them as Derek Thomas put the heat on Kelly.
And he never gives up. Again, John Fina, the blocker. Thurman Thomas helps. Derek Thomas just never gives up. He keeps trying and trying and trying, off to his best start, in the words of Marty Schottenheimer.
Steve Christie, a 49-yard attempt. He's made good on all 12 this year. If he hits this one, it ties Scott Norwood's Buffalo record. Plenty of leg. Whoa. 13 for 13. Woo. Oh, Canada. Christie from Oakville, Ontario. So the Marcus Allen fumble leads to 3 more Buffalo points.
This young man lives in Tampa in the off-season, trains by ice skating and playing soccer. An extremely strong leg. And, of course, with no breeze whatsoever here in Rich Stadium, I mean, this is like kicking in his living room.
Darryl Talley was on the spot to recover Marcus Allen's fumble. And it's 24-7.
Big game players.
Been there before.
Yep. He fumbled the ball, but I'm not sure it's on him. When Montana put that thing in there, it just squirted out. Marcus never had a chance to put his hands around the football.
The big game Buffalo Bills.
They're amazing. I mean, this is one of the most resilient bunch of football players I've ever come across.
Montana and the Chiefs have a minute left in the half. High but short. Dickerson on the run has it taken away from him by Donnell Bennett. And the rookie from Miami is to the 32-yard line. Well, get you in the Halloween spirit and mood tonight on NBC, the network premiere of The Addams Family. A great Sunday night movie for the whole family tonight at 9, 8 Central here on NBC.
I think if I'm Marty Schottenheimer, I'm not going to do anything here. I'm going to make sure with 55 seconds left that there's no more points on the board, no turnovers. Be very careful here.
Yeah, but with Montana, you've got to give him a chance. That's a lot of time for so, Bruce Smith. That's his 8th sack of the season.
He just shoved a 310-pound offensive tackle out of the way. I mean, just lifted him almost off the ground and shoved him. It's Derek Graham. That move inside, you see the way he just stood him straight up with a shiver?
That's only the 7th sack given up by Kansas City this year. They're after him again. That's a fumble and recovered by Buffalo, I believe. Bruce Smith may have fallen on it. Cornelius Bennett stripped him from behind. Oh, my.
See, Dick, here's the other problem. You've got Graham, 74, playing left tackle. There's 74. You got Sigler, 66, playing right tackle. John Alt out with an injury. And Buffalo takes advantage. This is a good call by the officials. Bennett gets the arm before it's going forward. Hopefully there's no injury to Joe Montana. That's the elbow that required surgery. He looks fine.
29 seconds left in the half. And another chance for Kelly and the Bills. They have 2 timeouts remaining. Thomas gets out of bounds.
Well, they're in field goal range. I mean, just hang on to the football. We'll take 3 more.
But this is a chance to really apply the dagger if they can go for the whole bundle.
Joe looks all right. I don't see him flexing his arm or anything, but that was the surgically repaired right arm that was just held there by Cornelius Bennett. Always a chance of some injury. He looks fine.
Kelly underneath to Thomas. 15, 10, out of bounds at the 7.
Stops the clock.
15 more yards for the Bills.
These Buffalo Bills will not go silently. Underneath the linebacker, Tracy Simeon. There's also a big block out here that helps a great deal. Looks like Don Beebe. Yes, 82. Gives Thurman a few more yards, and Thurman stops the clock by getting out of bounds. This bunch is not. They're going kicking and screaming from the top rung in the NFL.
They still want to play here in January. First and goal. Kelly. Touchdown, Reed. Another one for Andre Reed. And Kansas City's wound grows bigger. Bills have blown it open. 31-7.
Here's Andre Reed. Seldom you see Jim Kelly roll out, but he's always looking for Andre Reed when possible. Fakes to Thurman Thomas. Back of the end zone. Reed uncovered. An easy 6. Again. Throwing, running left, throwing back across his body. Well done, Buffalo. Yeah.
Andre Reed having a sensational first half. 2 touchdowns, 6 catches, 106 yards. Cornelius Bennett from behind, stripping Montana.
Well, it's 70 degrees here in Buffalo, but this is feeling to Kansas City an awful lot like January of last year. It tastes the same. It feels the same. We're getting our butts kicked.
30-13 was the final of the AFC Championship that sent Buffalo to their 4th consecutive Super Bowl. 31-7 first half today. Buffalo Bills walking on that edge at 4-3. People throughout the country saying, well, the Bills had a great run, but they're getting older. They're losing at home. Lost to the Jets and to the Colts here at Rich Stadium this year. Is this the year they finally don't make the playoffs? Well, Buffalo offering a resounding reply in this first half against a very good Kansas City team today. A safe little dribbler by Christie, covered by Kansas City at the 42-yard line with 8 seconds remaining.
Well, if you're head coach, if you're Marty Schottenheimer, going at halftime, I'm not sure what you tell your team. It's seldom that Kansas City gets handled this badly, but it's happened now 2 times in a row here in Orchard Park.
Montana going to take the kneel down. Get out of this place. Sanctity of the locker room. And someone must have said something to Joe. Hasn't lost his sense of humor, at least. What a half for Buffalo. And to get you caught up on all the other action from around the NFL, let's go to Greg Gumbel in New York. The Buffalo Bills, and one that's not on there is one for a very big injury suffered by Kansas City on the opening kickoff.
Little did we know that the injury to Mark Collins, the starting cornerback, would have such a big effect on Kansas City's defense. But if you think back to the first half, Andre Reed had a touchdown catch over Jay Taylor, and then he also had the nice little swing pass or the little flat pass out in the flat. Jay Taylor was responsible for that. So a player like Mark Collins, he does all right, but when he's not there, all of a sudden you see just how good a player he is.
In the meantime, the Buffalo Bills, could you orchestrate a better half of football?
No, I don't think so, Dick. And again, Marty Schottenheimer can go into his team and say, we're playing cruddy. Come on, you got to get with it. But the Buffalo Bills have taken this football game away from Kansas City. I'm not sure Kansas City in this first half could have done anything to keep Buffalo from just flat taking the football game away from them. If Thurman Thomas can run, that fuels the fire for the offense. If Bruce Smith can get a sack, that fuels the fire for the defense. And both sides of the ball for Buffalo are on fire.
Christie gets the second half underway. Spins down to Dickerson at the 14. At a crease and returns to the 31-yard line. And here's Hannah Storm with a report.
Well, Dick, these were Marty Schottenheimer's words to his team just before they came out on the field. He said, don't worry about the first half. We have 30 minutes to evaluate the character of this team. Nonetheless, his hands may be tied on defense. His entire starting secondary is injured. He talked about the early injury to Collins. The word is now he will not be back for the game with a deep thigh bruise. William White playing with a severed finger. David Whitmore, bruised right shoulder, questionable. And Dale Carter, a toe problem, limped off the field at the end of the first half. He's questionable as well, Dick.
Thank you, Hannah. So Montana goes to work, and it's Marcus Allen, short yardage on first down, pickup of 3. Let's check the 2-star quarterbacks. Montana against Kelly, and Jim Kelly having a superb opening half, 3 touchdowns. Montana with a couple of fumbles.
Yeah, that doesn't show there in those stats. And Buffalo's defense has done a great job of not giving Joe that underneath stuff, which he likes so much.
And along with the injuries to the secondary, John Alt, the best offensive lineman for the Chiefs, he's not starting the second half. Apparently that back acting up. Open is Willie Davis, and Mickey Washington makes the tackle. They're going to spot it at the 49 of Buffalo, a 16-yard throw.
Well, from what Hannah told us, Marty Schottenheimer has made this second half personal. Outside release there by Willie Davis, or excuse me, inside release by Willie Davis. Nice rounded off pattern, gets a little space for Joe Montana to get it into Davis. A score here, 7 points here on this drive, is mandatory for Kansas City.
Fake to Allen. And wide open is Lake Dawson. And he is hit by 3 men, fumbled, but was down at the 32-yard line, an 18-yard pickup. Washington and Marcus Patton in on the hit. And Maddox joined the crowd.
And this ball thrown very late down the middle. See if, in fact, I think his leg was down. Knee was down. Good call. Difficult for the officials, full speed to determine, but I think that's a good call.
4 catches, 48 yards for Dawson, who leads Kansas City's core of receivers. Marcus. And cut off by the linebacker, Darrell Talley. There was only one blue shirt left, and Allen tried to set up Talley, make him think he's going outside, duck inside, and Talley wouldn't bite.
You know, I think Darrell and Bruce Smith are roommates on the road. And Smith, of the two of them, has the wealth of talent. And Darrell Talley is the hard-working guy. And I think Darrell Talley has made Bruce Smith an all-pro. He's an all-pro himself, but
Montana with Smith after him, able to throw it to Dawson, incomplete. Thomas Smith on the coverage. But Smith thought he had Montana again.
Bruce Smith now, he sees this young man Graham, 74, in front of him. He's going to give him his full repertoire. Here's the spin move by Bruce Smith. Zott, 79, tries to help. Joe Montana now beginning to escape for his life.
Joe be nimble, Joe be quick.
And several times in the second half would be a recommendation.
Smith now with 3 hurries to go with his sack today. And 6 tackles. He's offside that time. And the throw underneath. Breaking tackles goes Kimball Anders. And the fullback has a first down inside the 20. The flag down, and it appeared that Smith had jumped a half step offside.
Offside, 76 defense, penalty declined, first down.
78, obviously. There's not a 76 out there for Buffalo. They'll take the play, a 10-yard completion.
Yeah, Gordon McCarter just corrected himself. I mean, Fields on the sideline. Doesn't appear to be totally in this game.
They're all stunned over there on the defensive side. Dawson, boy, there's another one of those great timing patterns of the Chiefs, and Henry Jones and Mickey Washington ride him out of bounds after a dozen more. So that's been a well-executed drive by Montana.
And again, 1, 2, 3 play action, play 4, 5-step drop, look and throw. Dawson there waiting. Well done. Again, the timing pattern. And Washington's looking back in the backfield. That's zone coverage by Buffalo. Montana able to get it in there.
First and goal from the 8. Jamel Bennett in the backfield. And the pass intended again, this time for the veteran Eric Morton, and he falls at the goal line.
A very interesting call. A short out on the goal line. Martin, he was out for 5 weeks. Well, both players slipped a little bit. Both Washington and Martin. Oh, if he doesn't slip, he can catch it and go in there.
Opening drive, second half. Chiefs well down 31-7. Allen. That play worked for the only touchdown by Kansas City from the 9-yard line in the first half on a second down. So they tried again second down. But Patton and Jones denied. Henry Jones, who earned his degree in psychology at Illinois, said, the trouble is I can't use the stuff I learned in trying to beat up the opposition.
Generally, defensive players not entitled to degrees.
Third and goal. Incomplete and almost intercepted. Mickey Washington.
Man, Washington would not let Lake Dawson inside. This is going to be a little slant pattern run by Lake Dawson right here. Watch the contact. Excuse me, Lake Dawson's on the outside. Boy, is there contact there?
A little bit. But no flag. Now, if they're ever going to use a fake field goal, this would be the time. Trailing 31-7, Lynn Elliott for 22 yards. They're going to kick it. So Marty Schottenheimer gets a long drive, gets to the 5-yard line, settles for 3. It's 31-10.
Field goal from 22 yards. This is one long game. They even ran out of food. The fans must be hungry.
I'll tell you about hungry.
When it's gotta be good and it's gotta be now. Pick up the phone, we're going.
And goes down at the 20-yard line. Chiefs say he fumbled, but it is marked down at the 21. Tracy Rogers in on the play for Kansas City. 7 possessions in the first half for the Bills, and they rack up 31 points. They were bemoaning the fact that in the Indy loss, they had the ball 7 times the entire game.
Well, they've certainly made up for it in that first half.
Bucky Brooks slow getting up after that kickoff return. They're working on the left leg. So we'll take a timeout with 10:22 left in the third. Brooks' his knee buckled as he tried to stop on this AstroTurf. Here's the play, and watch to see if he's ever touched. His leg starts to buckle. He goes down in pain and drops the ball. Hadn't been touched yet.
Yeah, and Kansas City does come up with the football. Marty Schottenheimer is on the field drawing the attention of the officials to that.
Thurman Thomas. And just as that opening drive on offense for Kansas City to get some points was critical, you said mandatory for a touchdown. Yes. They settled for 3. How big is this defensive stand for the first Buffalo?
Absolutely huge. In the case of Bucky Brooks, he never should have taken that ball out of the end zone. You're leading 31-10. Just stay in the end zone. But he's a young man trying to make an impression on his coaching staff. He gets hurt making the wrong choice on that kickoff return.
2 yards for Thurman on first down. No, Saliamua. And again, that hard count of Kelly is going to cost Kansas City unless one of the Buffalo blockers move. Now Dallas has finally caught up with Cincinnati, and Detroit goes ahead of the Giants.
Okay. Encroachment, 97 defense, 5 yards, still second down.
Those are critical penalties early in the game if you weren't with us. The first 2 Buffalo touchdown drives both involved Kansas City stopping them on 3rd down but being offside, and extended them right on into the end zone.
Now, this isn't enough for the first down, but 2nd and short. This is a quarterback's dream, or an offensive coordinator's dream.
Thomas takes from behind, and down for a loss is Neil Smith from the backside after Whitmore had done a good job again on the corner.
The Kansas City certainly making the defensive effort here. This is the counter. You're going to see the off guard and tackle pull, but Kansas City gets enough penetration. 41 Whitmore. He makes Thurman Thomas bounce outside, and then everybody catches up.
And Thomas, almost with that sense that someone was behind him, not trying to fight for something that wasn't there. He told us yesterday the Chiefs are the best in the league. That second man coming in and stripping you away as you're going to get hit. Make sure you don't try for too much.
And Thurman knows the only way that Kansas City can get back in this game is with some turnovers.
Kelly using all the time he can with the big lead. Lots of time here. Now dumps it to Thomas. Oh, can't hang on. Little safety valve and a flag down in the backfield of Buffalo. Holding against the Bills. And on 3rd down, incomplete. Schottenheimer will decline that one.
Holding, number 67 offense, penalty decline, 4th down.
Can't hold the all-pro center. Mississippi State.
Dick, I think if I'm Kansas City, well, they don't have Albert Lewis anymore, but this would be a prime spot to go after a punt, you know?
Chris Moore will kick this one from about his 10-yard line. Damon Hughes at the 40 of KC. Good driving kick. Hughes has to backpedal 10 yards to the 30. Doesn't do any good to dance. Not a yard on the return as Mark Maddox led the charge. Timeout.
In the grid here, we're showing you a timing pattern. This is Montana throwing it. This is Lake Dawson, and this is his pattern. And look, Lake Dawson hasn't even turned his head, and the red line is the pass leaving Joe Montana's hand. That's the timing part of this Kansas City offense. The defense cannot stop that play if the quarterback gets it close to the receiver. Timing works always in the NFL.
Trailing 31-10 from his 31. And another sack. Phil Hansen was in. Bennett on the follow. 3rd sack today. And this is a quarterback that had been sacked only 6 times in 7 games.
And Dick, this is a green light for the Buffalo defensive line. A hit 31-10. You know Kansas City's going to throw. They're going to try to stretch the patterns a little more. So Hansen, Wright, Bruce Smith, Cornelius Bennett, they can pretty much get in their track stance and forget the run.
9-yard loss. Greg Hill diving out of trouble to the 30-yard line. That'll bring up 3rd and 11.
Nice move by Greg Hill. I think Buffalo will give him that kind of running yardage, but again, great presence by this young man. Gets hit, bounces off, nice mature spin there, picks up the yards. But Kansas City's got to throw to get back in his game, and Buffalo knows that full well and good.
Davis left, Dawson right, Martin slot right. Montana, here comes Smith. Intercepted by Bennett. Bruce Smith forced the mistake. Bennett makes the catch. The Super Bowl Bills are at it again.
He just walked up to the referee and said, "That's a sack, right?" He's on Derek Graham, 74. Look at that acceleration. And Bennett, former tight end at Alabama, showing excellent hands to come up with the interception.
Yeah, one day he was a tight end.
Well, that's all right. That still qualifies.
It's what he wanted to be when he grew up. Followed the Cowboys. Billy Joe Dupree was his idol. Another turnover, and Kelly goes right to work. To Metzelaars. First down at the 13. Simeon made the tackle.
All of the turnovers today have involved Joe Montana. Ball stripped away by Bruce Smith, bounces off his shoulder pads, intercepted by Cornelius Bennett, and he's not happy with just the interception. He wants to get up and run. 3 turnovers, 2 fumbles by Joe Montana, and that interception.
Well, that could have been called a fumble, too.
Yes,
Barely.
Sure could have.
Thurman Thomas. And Neil Smith was there.
Big game, Buffalo Bills. Ask Miami. Ask Kansas City.
Well, let's examine that. They play big in the big games, and how do you lose to the Chicagos and Indianapolises? Is it because there isn't that depth and strength? They used to win those games in years past, obviously.
Smart move here. I'll answer your question in a minute. Steve Bono coming in. You're protecting Joe Montana. It's a move I totally agree with.
The end zone was Beatty, makes the catch, and Kelly goes down and is slow getting up as looks like Derek Thomas putting pressure on Kelly.
To answer your question about as we watch this replay, let's see, Derek Thomas on the outside. It's not Derek Thomas that hits him. It's Tracy Simeon, the middle linebacker, making a blitz. He's trying to put as much. Well, that's a delayed intense pain by Jim Kelly. But your question, I think, is a very valid one about how do they lose to Chicago and Indianapolis. I think this is a hard team to pique its interest in a particular football game. Against big teams, good teams, they play well.
Here comes Smith after Kelly. It throws it away. It was a screen for Thomas, and Darren Nickel had Thomas wrapped up. So on comes the field goal unit.
Dick, the hardest thing about going to the Super Bowl last year is getting through the regular season to get into playoffs for the opportunity to go to the Super Bowl this year. And Dallas has gone through that beautifully. So has Buffalo. But look, these guys are veterans. If this were a 4-game season as opposed to 16, they'd be up for those 4 games no matter who they play. But 16 weeks of football, that's a long time to keep your peak mentally.
Well, no matter how good you are, you're not going to be up 16. And the good teams, however, can win on days where they don't play so well. Christie, 32 yards for the field goal. And it is blocked or certainly misplayed. And Kansas City denies at the 20-yard line. But there's a flag down.
It looked like Dale Carter was coming from the outside.
Offside, number 34 defense lined up in the neutral zone. 5-yard penalty, repeat 4th down.
That's why he was there so quickly.
It's not a first down.
Here's Carter right here. He's lined up in the neutral zone. Now I understand why he gets there just a little quicker than normal. But it didn't hit Carter. It hit somebody else up front.
So another try. This from the 16-yard line. So it'll be a 26-yard attempt. Right to hold. And that will be a new Buffalo record. 14 consecutive field goals by Steve Christie. 49 and 26 yards today. The Smith-Bennett collaboration on the hit of Montana leads to the field goal. Still in command, 34-10, 5:45 left in the third. Christie, a sidewinder to Ron Dickerson. Tasker misses him, but Jerome Henderson doesn't at the 19-yard line. Tomorrow, Halloween, Monday, NBC invites you to enter America's scariest house, Roseanne and Tom's house. This one movie that Roseanne doesn't want you to see. Watch Roseanne and Tom, the movie. It's a world premiere. Halloween night, Monday, starting tomorrow at 9, 8 Central here on NBC. So subpar numbers for Joe Montana. So they do roll at an interception, not a fumble the last play. Steve Bono now at quarterback. He was 2 for 2 in the last Kansas City game against Seattle. Greg Hill for a couple. Darryl Talley makes the stop.
Dick, I think Marty Schottenheimer of Kansas City is playing the rest of this game for next week. The rest of this game has little or nothing to do with the rest of this game. I mean, he's setting up for next week. We're going to give Greg Hill a bunch of turns here. They've still got Sigler in at right tackle, Graham in at left tackle. I don't think they want to put Bono in jeopardy, give Bruce Smith a cheap shot at him. Play it for next week.
Both rookies in there, Bennett and Hill, and that one deflected forward to Lake Dawson, still another rookie, and it's a catch at the 35-yard line. Darryl Talley covers him. 14 yards on the play.
This ball kind of eats Greg Hill up. Derek
Walker. Right?
Derek Walker, the tight end, up. Just bounces off his shoulder pads, but Lake Dawson, it's nice to have that backup. In case it bounces out of your mitt, you know, you want to have somebody backing you up.
L. Dawson. They had another L. Dawson went all the way to the Hall of Fame. This kid, as a rookie, has done well. This is Greg Hill to the 40-yard line, a gain of about 6. Phil Hansen and Jeff Wright with the stop.
And Matt Blunden there with the radio to Steve Bono. And very smart move here by Marty Schottenheimer.
And Joe Montana was talking about that those speakers in the helmet. He said, in this modern age, we can get to the moon and we can't build some smaller speakers. There's a helmet, and look how big they are. They fit over each temple. And he said, you get hit in the helmet and you feel those things.
That does appear to be dangerous.
Bono just does get it away, and it's ruled a catch at the 49-yard line. Eric Martin, a tough reception. Maddox putting pressure on Bono, and Smith makes the stop.
No deep drops here by Steve Bono. Reset, get rid of it. Get rid of it.
From the 49-yard line, final minutes of the third quarter. Buffalo scored on its first possession, so did Kansas City to tie, and since then, it's been all Bills. Greg Hill into Buffalo territory, and yellow flies. Henry Jones made the stop. Did he get a piece of the... No, it's going to be against Kansas City. A hold is the preliminary call. Well, Marty Schottenheimer will not like that. Schottenheimer, who was drafted by both Baltimore in the NFL and Buffalo in the AFL, and in his third year, this is the media guy. Schottenheimer, a linebacker out of Pittsburgh, majored in English. And as we expand the small print, there was his ambition back in '68. He might wish he were doing that today, in fact.
Postseason career in broadcasting. I like the other story he told us, too. Relaxes playing the piano, and he said his 78-year-old mother, Tass, he said, the maddest I ever got at my mom was when she stood over me when I was practicing that piano. I hated it.
7 years he took lessons. The penalty makes it first down and 20. And Donnell Bennett, who gets a rare chance. That's only his 10th carry of the season. The 240-pound fullback from Miami of Florida. Lodish and Barnett make the tackle. Marv Levy using some backups now.
Smart on both these coaches' part. We mentioned how the 16-game schedule can wear everyone out, and anytime you can give them a half off in a football game, some of your key players, it's going to pay dividends later. There's the Kansas City defense taking a rest.
Smith and Thomas, two of their stars. Bruce Smith
Was he pulled offside by Derek Graham, the tackle?
Encroachment, 78 defense, 5 yards, still second down.
That's the first penalty that'll be marked off against Buffalo today, 5 yards. You know, we're talking about Marv Levy and Sports Illustrated article, one of the best I've ever read about a coach, and a coach that not many know much about, Marv Levy. I'll give you that comment in a moment. Bono goes deep. Willie Davis the target. Almost intercepted as Mickey Washington got there first, and Matt Darby was right with him.
There was contact at the end of that play, but the officials not ruled to interfere with the play. Washington looking back at the ball. Closer to Washington than Davis.
Bono from long distance saying, I want that flag.
Yeah. And Joe Montana, throw the flag. Or something like that.
This crowd hasn't given up. Bono to Davis, and Davis tackled at the 29-yard line, but it certainly looked as if Cornelius Bennett was in a stranglehold. Tracy Green, it appeared, was trying to stop Bennett.
Hands up in the face mask, perhaps. The tight end blocking on Cornelius Bennett. That's a tough job.
Illegal use of hands. Number 87 offense. 10 yards. Repeat, third down.
Rookie from Grambling, Tracy Green.
You're asking any tight end a lot. Yeah, there's that left hand up underneath the face mask.
They don't even allow that in rodeo. That's about what you're going to have to rope up these defenders for Buffalo. They're romping. They're on the range. Third down, 18 for Bono. Intercepted by Jones, his first of the year. And the man from Illinois is on his way. Has some blockers. Out of bounds at the 12-yard line. Jones, who had 8 interceptions 2 years ago, but had been shut out until this one.
Here's Jones right here. Lake Dawson is the intended receiver. Lake down the middle. It's a pick. 4th turnover of the day by Kansas City. 2nd interception. Bills in fine shape.
What do you need to be the best?
Starter. Every time I go out there,
You drop.
System for victory. Works every time. If you have 2 more turnovers than the opposition, you win. It happens. Well, a couple of weeks ago, it was like 34-0.
Yeah.
And he has a 4-0 lead in turnovers today, and that's reflected in a sizable lead, 34-10, and the Bills have it again at the 12-yard line. 1 minute left in the third.
That interception by Henry Jones, he really didn't have to do much. Just dropped off the line of scrimmage, and Steve Bono was trying to hit Lake Dawson from the far side. Jones made a nice catch. There's
Kelly
Bono.
stays in at quarterback. There's Bono and Montana.
Trying to explain why he threw it in there.
Thurman Thomas has 1 touchdown today and gets a couple there as the Chiefs trying to steal it away. Joel Phillips, the big guy in the middle, along with Tracy Simeon. Did they teach you that when you were a Bengal to hold up the...
I played offense, but absolutely, no question. And when you found a player that was prone to fumbling the ball, yes, our defensive coaches did. I think there's nothing wrong with it whatsoever.
Try to not really bring him to the ground. Hold him up enough so someone else can come in. And
the Black Jackets, too, play a part in the fumbles. There's no rib, 2 ribs to put that ball between.
slams inside the 5. He'll be shy of the first down by a yard. And those final seconds of the third period will elapse. And how many times have we been in Buffalo in the 90s for a celebration? This time it's on Halloween. To follow the yellow brick road. It's been golden for them today.
Very good.
34-10.
Very good. The Scarecrow. Very nice.
I'm
Mr.
not
Enberg.
lying. Okay, your turn.
The Tin Man. What rhymes with what we do with the Tin Man?
3rd and 1. Win rhymes with 10. And the Bills have a big lead, 34-10. And knocking on the door. Kelly once more. Finally dumps it to Metcalf. Touchdown. That's not exactly the way that pattern was drawn.
No.
Flag is down. So is another Chief.
Neil Smith.
Boy, how tough a day for Kansas City, and he's holding his right ankle. That's a new injury.
Now, he hurt his left ankle in the opening game of the season against New Orleans and broke his thumb. And now it looks like an offensive lineman rolls over Neil Smith's leg to give him this injury. It's John Fina, I think we're going to see. Here's Fina right here. Here's Smith. Watch what happens after Kelly throws the ball. Fina looking away, and he's blocking Derek Thomas when he falls down. Watch the right ankle of Neil Smith. And he told us last night, he said, I can't get healthy and I can't stay healthy.
The penalty was against Kansas City, just to throw salt in the Chiefs' wound. So not only a touchdown is allowed, but there'll be a penalty marked off on the ensuing kickoff. Tracy Simeon, unnecessary roughness. So Jim Kelly, who has had a subpar year, started today with only 6 touchdowns, 9 interceptions. Kelly is 4 touchdowns, no picks today. A big, big day for Jim Kelly.
Actually, a big game for Uncle Jim Kelly.
That's right. He's got his 11-year-old nephew who aspires to follow in his footsteps here to cheer him on. Sean Kelly, and look at this. He's only 11. Pee-wee football. Look.
That upright delivery, and then look, even the left hand. Sean plays football. He's wearing number 16. A kid a year older has number 12, so he's got to wait his turn. But Uncle Jim is very proud. He went down to Richmond, Virginia to see him play. And it was supposed to be a surprise visit. What did he say? There were 1,200 people there with Jim Kelly cards to sign. That's Pat Kelly, his older brother's son, Sean.
He's a linebacker, played for a little while with the Lions.
Yeah, played in Canada.
Well, they still work on Neil Smith. We'll be back with a report on his condition. First, let's go to New York and an NFL update.
All right, Dick, a reminder, these are the games coming up that will make up the second half of our NBC doubleheader. And many of you will see Miami at New England. The 5-2 Dolphins, led by Dan Marino, the AFC's top-rated passer, 17 TD passes, 6 interceptions. The 3-4 Patriots by Drew Bledsoe, who has thrown a touchdown pass in 12 straight games. Miami at New England coming up for many of you next here on NBC. Let's go back to Dick Enberg. Dick?
All right, Greg, and Marino very high, and his praise of young Bledsoe. And Derek Thomas and Neil Smith are the inseparables on this Kansas City team, the closest of friends. In fact, it was Smith who called Thomas when he overslept before that Denver game and got him at least a little bit out of trouble, and they were going to not let Thomas play at all. And Smith and the other captain said, hey, he was an hour late. Let's just lose him for an hour. And Marty Schottenheimer went along with that program.
That's a good friend who will call you when you're not in that initial morning meeting that the head coach calls. Derek said, I didn't do anything stupid. As a matter of fact, I stayed in that night and just simply overslept. And
Thomas with his concern for Neil Smith. You know, the Buffalo Bills have that same sort of camaraderie between Bruce Smith and Darryl Talley.
Yeah.
Wherever one is, you'll find the other.
It's a foursome. There's no question about that.
So the wounded Smith.
Dick, back to the touchdown. Here's Pete Metzelaars, and here's Gardner. He goes in the end zone, and Kelly is looking to throw the ball down here, and I think Pete finally yelled at him because Metzelaars kind of releases out here. He's going to block, and then see, he just released almost a lateral there. Metzelaars catches it. Waltzes into the end zone, the bricklayer.
Yeah, he had pumped twice trying to go to the end zone.
He wanted to get it in the end zone.
Well, we better explain the bricklayer on Pete Metzelaars. That's what Metzelaars means in Dutch. He says, we'll settle for it. Pete, of course, the former college basketball player at DePaul. Wabash.
At Wabash. He wanted to be a cannonball.
Crawfordsville, Indiana. Try for point by Christie as the Buffalo Bills have scored on 7 of 10 possessions today. And after the penalty on Simeon for unsportsmanlike conduct, Christie kicks the kickoff right through the uprights. Marcus saying to Joe, should we give him 3? It's 41-10. Hey, a big day next Saturday. Oh, the Sport of Kings, Thoroughbred's biggest day, $10 million. The Breeders' Cup, edition number 11 from famed Churchill Downs, Louisville, Kentucky. Starts at 1 o'clock. 4 hours of live action, 7 big races, all $1 million or more. If you love the horses, what a day next Saturday on NBC.
You love the horses.
I do indeed. I do indeed. Bono to Bennett. Well designed, and Bennett with a 15-yard gain before Washington and Darby makes the tackle.
In case you're just coming in from outside, these are the last 6 possessions of the Kansas City Chiefs. You can understand why the score is 41-10.
And those 4 turnovers have resulted in 2 touchdowns and 2 field goals. 20 points for the Bills. Even at that, it would be 21-10.
Yes, still, Buffalo can play the big game.
Well, they got some more big ones left. Good action by Bono. Wanted to go left, and his second receiver was Martin, and he hits him down the middle at the Buffalo 46. 19-yard play.
Steve Bono had the luxury of watching Joe Montana while in San Francisco go through Montana's MVP season. He knows this offense probably better than Joe Montana does, because after Joe hurt his elbow in San Francisco, they added a few things to the offense. So Bono taught Montana and Paul Hackett a little more about the West Coast offense.
Played at UCLA. This is his 10th year in the league. Bennett didn't fool Buffalo at all. Yard gain in the play is Marv Levy's Buffalo Bills trying to go 5-3 today. Levy, the oldest of the NFL coaches, somewhere between 66 and something else, but he loves country and western, which just doesn't fit this Phi Beta Kappa and Rhodes Scholar. And he said, I love the humor. I really love the humor in the lyrics of country and western. And we'll give you one of his favorites. He loves Patsy Cline and some of those, but his favorite C&W song, Don't Go Away. Bono. And Lake Dawson didn't see it on the near sideline.
All right, I can wait no longer. What is Marv Levy's favorite country and western?
Hey, Marv, smile a little bit. It'll pay off more. I'd rather have a bottle in front of me than a frontal lobotomy.
Sung by whom?
I don't know. What was the other one? What is there about no that you don't understand? What is there about no that you don't understand?
Told us that Marv Levy after the play. I'll tell you an interesting thing about him.
3rd down and 8 for Bono. Here comes Smith. And he forces the pass wild to the sidelines. And And that brings up 4th down.
Marv Levy said when he was a high school coach, he used to follow Bud Wilkinson, then the head coach at Oklahoma, around the country. Listen to his coaching clinics. Always loved to hear Bud Wilkinson say anything about football. Here's a guy that the great ones in a particular profession have the passion. And Marv Levy has the passion for football.
Schottenheimer goes for it on 4th and 8 at the 44. Bono doesn't get it off in time. 5-yard delay a game.
The people on the sideline could not decide whether to punt or go for it.
5 yards, still 4th down.
And now 4th and 13. Punting team comes on. 9 penalties, Kansas City, 65 yards. 1 penalty, 5 yards, Buffalo.
Aguilar into the punt.
12.5 minutes left as Jeff Burris waits at the 10 for the Aguilar punt. It's going to kick into the end zone. A touchback for Buffalo. Timeout. Bills will have it at the 20 when we come back.
Hot dog stand, not in the stand.
Kenneth Davis takes over with Frank Reich now the quarterback, and a loss of a couple of yards. Darren Bickle comes in for the stop. Brandon Thomas.
You know, before that last rush, the Bills have only rushed for 90 yards in this game. 86 in the first half, and it absolutely set the tone for the entire football game.
Nate Turner now in is right. Makes his debut in '94 when they needed him. Oh, as he brought out great football. Davis again on 2nd and long and finds some room. A lot of room. Could go all the way. Jay Taylor catches him at the 20-yard line. 61 yards.
Uh-oh. Long run by Kenneth Davis. Thurman may have to put his hat on and go back in the game. We do have a flag about halfway down the field, but Kenneth Davis, Thurman Thomas's backup, nicknamed Cotton. He is faster than Thurman Thomas. Look, you got a player, you got a coach on the field.
Marty Schottenheimer was on the field.
That's going to be the flag. I'll bet you he knocked the official down.
Marty Schottenheimer almost made the hit. The old linebacker from Pittsburgh.
Yeah, I think he's apologizing to the line judge who was over there and made the contact, but Marty was just out there to try to see what was going on, and the official gets caught up in Marty's the wire on his headset.
Oh my.
Here they are. There's the two of them, and watch what happens to the official as the play approaches. See the wire around his waist? And I think that's where the flag was thrown, Dick.
Well, we're going to have to dip down into a special rule for this one.
The foul is unsportsmanlike conduct. People from the Kansas City bench area were interfering with the flow of play. We will go half the distance from the end of the run. First down.
That is the people. You're looking at the people.
And the rule is in the NFL, the white border around the field is off limits. Schottenheimer in the white border, and that's the official's area to run up and down the sideline. No question about that call. And how often has Marty Schottenheimer got a penalty called on himself?
And this on top of his team's worst defensive performance. More points allowed today than any Kansas City Chief game under Schottenheimer. 41-10, and Kenneth Davis plus the penalty puts it just outside the Chief 10-yard line. Nate Turner, his first carry of the season. for about 3, maybe 4. He's from Nebraska and in a celebrating mood after that big Husker win against Colorado yesterday.
I think we've seen it all today. There is nothing that can happen in the final 10 minutes and 50 seconds that can top what we've already seen.
Our producer, John Ferratzis, reminds us that for Schottenheimer, his last penalty was also in Buffalo as a player. This is just extends that big gap between the 60s and today. That one didn't work as Kenneth Davis caught by Vaughn Booker on the corner with Derek Thomas following up.
We presently, I don't know if you've ever done the Hula Bowl, but the Hula Bowl always seems to end on the right time. We need one of those Hula Bowl clocks here just to preserve everyone's health. You don't want anybody hurt with the last 10 minutes going on here, and bodies flying around. Bones can be broken.
That's like the old roller derby. You knock a coconut. You take a minute off the clock during the jam. You got to get off on time.
On to that.
Right on the boot. Out of bounds, Jay Taylor pushes him out. And that brings up 4th down and another chance for Steve Christie to add to his Buffalo consecutive field goal string.
This is an amazing football team, isn't it, Dick?
It really is.
I mean,
they're an amazing group of men. We've had a chance to chat with them many times, obviously, in the course of the last 4 or 5 years, and they always come with something new. They're very strong in the personality department. There's a depth of character here that's reflected in their success and why they can win when they have to, except for that last game of the year.
Oh, you had to bring it up.
Well, 25 yards for Christie and 3 more for Buffalo.
We're into the future.
9.5 minutes remain, and Ron Dickerson on the kickoff return. And he's to the 28-yard line. Hit by Mark Pike of Buffalo. 9:22 remains in the 4th.
The man in black is back.
Using 4 turnovers to add to their convincing effort today. And Neil Smith limping off, one of the many wounded for Kansas City. Derek Thomas, one of the few healthy. Joe Montana, lucky to escape, took some big hits today. Second half of the doubleheader and 5 terrific games. Check your local listings, and we will switch to all 5 of those games, so you'll see the opening kickoff will remain here for the Buffalo and the Kansas City markets, but the rest of you throughout the country will be there for the kickoff in doubleheader game 2. 9:22 remaining in the 4th quarter here at Rich Stadium. Bono for Wright. Almost Jones' second interception. Or Bono, rather, for Montana. And Wright for Kelly. And Bono had that one very close to Jones' mitts.
Kansas City's offense is pretty much same unit, except Marcus Allen's out. Joe Montana's out, but the receivers and running backs still getting their activity with Steve Bono at quarterback. The defense of Buffalo changed completely, but for the defensive backs, the front 7, all new people in there.
Donnell Bennett and the big fullback ripped down at the 30-yard line. Oliver Barnett and Kurt Schultz on the tackle.
Well, what can they do next week against the Jets? That's another one of those dangerous games.
Well, the Jets defeated Buffalo in the opening game of the season up here at Rich Stadium, and they'll be rematched at Giant Stadium next Sunday. We'll be there to bring that to you. I said there are other challenges. How about at Pittsburgh against that tough Steeler defense? Green Bay at Detroit Thanksgiving Day. At Miami. Tough Minnesota at home. Yes. So they're going to have to get big game fever again. To Martin. It'll be close to a first down. They're going to mark him down at the 38, just shy. Thomas Smith covering.
Martin has played very well. He was out for 5 weeks. Last week was the first time he really got any activity. He's still learning the Kansas City offense. Said he only knows 50 or 60% of it, but Martin's still proving it. Even after all these years, he can run the patterns and catch the ball.
Got 4 today for 43. Rich Stadium in the wave. Greg Hill caught in the backfield. It appeared that Oliver Barnett was in the neutral zone. He made the stop. But they're saying it's against Kansas City, I believe. Time out. 7:48. Buffalo takes over on downs. Knocked out in January in the AFC Championship game, and the entire team suffering a headache today.
Yes.
44-10, the Buffalo Stars. And this is a team that's tough to got a big marquee to put all their stars on there, and they all answered today. The Buffalo Bills. And Darryl Talley, perhaps the least appreciated, except by those who play with him in Buffalo.
This is a film that Buffalo will love to watch and watch often. This is a film that Kansas City wants no part of watching but have to.
So take over on downs to the Bills inside the Kansas City 40. And movement before the snap. Corbin Lucina. Buffalo has scored on 8 of 11 possessions today.
You don't do that in training camp.
12 times before the snap, 68 offense, 5 yards, still first down.
Bruce Smith wanted to remind all you folks that the executive producer of NBC Sports is Tommy Roy. The coordinating producer of NFL football and the producer of today's game is John Faratzis. Directed by John Gonzalez. Hey, John, have a great Breeders' Cup next Saturday at Churchill Downs. NFL Live produced by Ricky Diamond and directed by John Gilmartin. Kenneth Davis to the 38-yard line.
And when Bruce Smith insists we do something, we do it.
Did you see me hesitate? Did you see me with any false steps?
No, you set this whole game up so that you could do that to appease Bruce Smith.
He had a bunch of hurries and a sack and intimidated everybody.
Yeah, when John Alt went out, that was a swinging door then for Bruce Smith.
Picnic. Davis and the Chiefs fan Derek Thomas makes the tackle, and the ball is loose. And Buffalo recovers. Didn't that figure? 6:59 left.
You know, Kansas City's got the Los Angeles Raiders coming up next.
And the San Diego Chargers, both at Arrowhead.
They were 5-2 at this point last year. Now they're 5-3. I don't like Kansas City's circumstance here.
Down to the 28-yard line. A reminder again that as soon as we hit the 4 o'clock mark, we're going to switch most of you around the nation to the second half of your doubleheader game, so you'll see it right from the very start. But those of you in the Kansas City and Buffalo markets will see the conclusion of this game. And for Bob Trumpy and Hannah Storm and all of our crew, we thank you for being with us. And if you are a Buffalo fan, you have a right to crow tonight. What a game by the Bills. They've beaten a very good team, Kansas City, who didn't look very good today.
No, did not.
Fourth down, and the Bills just try to go for it. Marv Levy not going for the field goal, and it appears the Chiefs have held on down.
That was kind of a kind move on Marv Levy's part there. Little dive into the, that's why you did that.
That was Bruce Smith during the national anthem.
Would you call that an icy stare?
He's learned how to act a little bit too. Not that that's an act at all. He's what that movie, The Little Giants.
Little
right?
Giants.
He's got a part in there.
Yeah, with Emmett Smith and Tim Brown,
Steve Entman.
Yeah, kind of like the The Bad News Bears, only this is the football version.
So the Chiefs take over at the 28-yard line, and Matt Blunden, who has not played it down this year, comes in. Career, he's 1 for 3 in his 3 seasons out of Virginia, where he was also a 4-time basketball letterman. And Greg Hill for a couple of yards.
No fights here, gentlemen. No fights.
Blunden, 6 feet 6 inches tall. And Joe Valerio, I believe, is in there blocking for him, or is part-time. They went to the same high school in Pennsylvania, Millmont Park. That must have been a pretty good team.
Yeah, he was a pretty good rebounder when he was at Virginia.
Oh, he was tough.
Yeah, very good rebounder.
He played a big 6'6". Off a little play action. And hits his tight end Tracy Green for a first down across the 40. Now here's the lineup of the games coming up. Second half of the doubleheader. Good luck to your team. Those will be coming up shortly. Enjoy. And we'll stay here for the conclusion of the game. Buffalo, Kansas City. And I believe the Chiefs have a second game of the doubleheader themselves. The fans back in Missouri and Kansas.
I have a feeling, though, those fans there in Kansas City might be out of the football watching mood after this one.
Bennett with a carry, and we'll be right back with game 2 after these messages from your local station. Put that break. Jeff Burris, the rookie from Notre Dame, number 22, his first professional interception off Matt Blunden.
Trying to get the ball down the field. Well, not thrown badly by Matt Blunden, but Burris makes a heck of a play. Willie Davis, 84, the intended receiver. Keep that ball, Jeff. Don't bounce it. Don't throw it. Keep it. First NFL interception. I have a feeling he's going to have a lot more before his career is finished.
Davis lost a yard on first down, and now Davis on 2nd and 11. Staying in bounds cleverly and diving across the 20, and the flag goes down. Pelham McDaniel, 77, with the tackle, as we're under the 3-minute mark here at Rich Stadium. Bills showed they were ready on their opening drive. They went 73 yards in 10 plays. Kelly hit Metzelar's 11 yards for the touchdown. Marcus Allen got a 9-yard score to tie it at 7. And then the dam broke, and it was all Buffalo.
Holding number 80 offense. Half the distance penalty from the spot of the foul. Repeat, second down.
That's on Lake Dawson. I think Kansas City's got to go back and do some reassessing here as to what's going on. They could not stop the run again today, and that kind of set the tone in the initial stages. And then the 5 turnovers. Oh, man.
5-0. You're not going to win those games. You're right. Kansas City's test will be immediate. The Raiders and San Diego in that Western Division coming to Arrowhead the next 2 weeks. Davis is trying to run out the clock now. Tracy Simeon, bottom of the pile. Yeah, it's almost as if the Buffalo Bills like the fact that the country, even their own fans, are ready to give up on them. They relish it.
Yes.
They feed off it.
You're right. They like center stage. They like to upset a lot of people. They know how to upset a lot of people, and that's just they keep hanging around. They're not going to go out with a whimper.
On 3rd down. And a stop at the 15-yard line as it ticks down to the 2-minute timeout. Greg Cragen, former Denver Bronco, makes the tackle. Kansas City calls timeout at 2:03. Well, maybe Marty has a few trick plays
No. He's just Marcus Allen. What? Somebody called a timeout. Who did that? I mean, they can try for a blocked punt, but the 2-minute warning can't take place until after 2 minutes. So what's our plan here?
Marcus Allen able to, his maturity says, I mean, he's not taking the defeat lightly. It's just a matter when you really get belted around like this, there's no sense putting your head down and saying, well, what if this and what if that? There are games where all teams really get shellacked, and you might as well just swallow it with a smile because you've just been forced to eat it.
You got a day and a half to get over this, and you've got preparation for the Los Angeles Raiders.
Both teams will be 5-3. Each team started one game out of first place in their respective divisions as Chris Moore sends another beautiful kick. He is a fine punter. Damon Hughes out of bounds at the Kansas City 35 at the 152 mark, and we'll be back at Rich Stadium after this message remaining. Andre Reed, a couple of touchdown catches today. He and Kelly are battling with Steve Young and Jerry Rice for the active lead and the best touchdown pass catch combination, and as of the moment they're ahead by 1 with 53. They had 2 today, so 51 plus 2.
They got the ball down the field today. It's one thing that Buffalo wanted to do. Nothing that Kansas City wanted to do did they accomplish today.
Plus, as Hannah pointed out, 4 starting defensive backs, all injured. A couple so much so that they couldn't continue. John Alt went out at the half.
Neil Smith with that.
Neil Smith limped away.
Yep.
Matt Blunden. Whoops.
Greg Hill was the intended receiver, not even close.
Yeah, he's got to rest up. A big day tomorrow. Big day tomorrow. I'll bet he's got his plans already. I wonder.
Yeah, it looks like he's going to go as Ed Norton.
London, it looked as if it was tipped and then dropped by Tracy Green. Stops the clock with 1:43 left. Well, the star value. Kelly was 14 for 22, 4 touchdowns, no interceptions. Thomas had 104 total yards and a touchdown. Reed 5 catches, 106 yards, 2 touchdowns, all in the first half. Bruce Smith 6 tackles, 1 sack, 1 fumble recovery, 1 forced fumble, 7 hurries, and about 25 intimidated. And defending Bill Brooks on a late flag. It appeared that Glenn may have been using his offhand, the right hand, reaching in with the left hand.
Yeah. But the official behind the play, I mean, it is going to appear.
They'll sort out the penalty, and while they do, the employee owners of Avis salute the game's most valuable player. Well, you could put them all in there. Just grab one out of the hat. How about number 83, Andre Reed, as the winner of today's We Try Harder award. A tough catch there, one of his 2 touchdown receptions, the all-time Buffalo Bills receiver. Avis, the official rental company of the NFL.
And the minute that Mark Collins got hurt, they single up Andre Reed on Jay Taylor. Find a weakness, take advantage.
Holding. Number 84 during the kick. Face mask, number 83, kicking team at the end of the run. The receiving team will retain the ball at the dead ball spot, first down.
I thought there was going to be a gallows built or something.
22-yard line.
Charge up Sparky, old Sparky there.
Jim Kelly, he said the week off really felt fresh by having some time not throwing, felt strong-armed, and showed it today.
No, don't do it.
Got away from Buffalo. When things aren't going well, probably a good idea for all players to do that.
Well, the Bills are going to run it out with a couple of kneel downs and go off to their friends and loved ones and savor a very impressive win. And for the Kansas City Chiefs, those are the men, the leaders, who will be able to take it in stride and be tough and be ready to lead again next week. The halfway point of the season, and the Chiefs and the Bills, who made it to the final AFC game last year, the championship, will go into the second half of this year, each at 5-3. We came here expecting a titanic game between two teams at a very important spot, and the Buffalo Bills had all the answers. One more play for Frank Reich, and that will do it. How could Bruce Smith not be our MVP? I got to get out of here before he finds out. 44-10. The Bills win it. For Bob Trumpy and Hannah Storm, this is Dick Enberg saying so long from Rich Stadium in Buffalo, New York. This has been a presentation of NBC Sports in our 30th year of covering the NFL.